Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dive into the stories and mysteries behind everyday things. Today's question comes from one of our inquisitive viewers, Snack Attack 42. Thanks for the suggestion, Snack Attack. You asked, why do wine glasses have long stems? Wouldn't short ones work just as well? At first glance, it seems like a design choice, something fancy to make you feel like a wine connoisseur, even if you're just sipping boxed wine in your pajamas. But there's actually science behind it. From temperature control to spill prevention, and of course, looking ridiculously sophisticated, those long stems serve a real purpose. So, if you've ever wondered why wine glasses look the way they do, or if you've ever dramatically broken one while trying to swirl like a pro, stick around. We're breaking it all down right here on Explaining Everything. Wine is picky. It's like that one friend who insists their coffee be exactly 143 degrees or it's ruined. Different wines have different temperature needs. White wines and sparkling wines. They love being cold. Red wines. They prefer a cool but not too cool vibe. Now imagine you're holding a wine glass without a stem. Your warm hand is wrapped around the bowl. Congratulations, you're now microwaving your wine. And no one wants that. Ever had warm white wine? It's like drinking regret. The stem exists so you can hold the glass without heating up your drink like a human space heater. You know when people swirl their wine and act like they can smell hints of oak, leather, and a distant childhood memory? Well, it turns out the swirling actually has a purpose. When you swirl wine, it mixes with oxygen, which helps unlock its aromas and flavors. The long stem makes swirling easy without the risk of sloshing wine onto your shirt, or worse, someone else's. Without a stem, you would have to awkwardly grip the bowl and try to swirl like you're shaking a snow globe. Not the best look. Imagine you've just poured a perfect glass of wine. The lighting is beautiful. You lift the glass and boom! Greasy fingerprints all over the bowl. Wine glasses are supposed to be clear so you can admire the color and clarity of the wine. Holding it by the stem keeps your fingerprints where they belong, on your phone screen, not on your glass. Let's be real. Holding a wine glass by the stem just looks more sophisticated. There's a reason movie villains always sip from long-stemmed glasses. It gives an air of power. Now, imagine a supervillain drinking wine from a chunky mug. Doesn't have the same effect, does it? A long-stemmed glass forces you to hold it delicately, making you look effortlessly refined. Want to impress people at a party? Just hold your glass by the stem, swirl confidently, and say something vague like, "Ah, yes, very structured tannins." Boom! Instantly fancy. Ever knocked over a wine glass? Of course you have, and if you haven't, congratulations. You clearly don't talk with your hands. A properly designed wine glass has a long stem and a wide base, keeping the center of gravity low. This makes it less likely to tip over. Notice I said less likely, not impossible. If you're a naturally clumsy person, I can't promise a long stem will save you, but it helps. Humans have been drinking wine for thousands of years, and they've always wanted their glasses to look cool. Ancient Romans used long-stemmed goblets, partly because they didn't want warm wine, but also because it made them feel important. Same with medieval nobles. If you had a fancy goblet, you were clearly a big deal. Fast forward to the 1700s, and glassmakers in Venice started perfecting the delicate, long-stemmed design we recognize today. And because humans love tradition, we've stuck with it ever since. So, what about stemless wine glasses? Some people swear by them. They're harder to break, easier to store, and less likely to tip over if you get too enthusiastic while telling a story. But remember all the things we just talked about. Temperature control, swirling, no fingerprints? Yeah, stemless glasses throw all of that out the window. That's why serious wine drinkers tend to stick with long stems. But if you prefer stemless, no judgment. Just don't blame science when your white wine turns lukewarm. So, why do wine glasses have long stems? Because wine is dramatic and demands to be served just right. The stem keeps your drink cool, makes swirling easy, prevents greasy fingerprints, and most importantly, makes you look fancy while drinking. At the end of the day, though, the best wine glass is the one that holds wine. Whether you're sipping from a crystal goblet, a casual stemless glass, or, let's be real, a coffee mug because your real glasses are in the dishwasher, just enjoy your drink. If you learned something new, don't forget to like, subscribe, and, most importantly, hold your glass by the stem. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.